Hi again, everyone. We're back with another episode of the Discover New Music podcast. Shortly, I'm going to be joined by Slung, who we've recently featured over on our various playlists with a number of their pre-release singles from their upcoming debut album, In Ways. Each track really has been killer, and I can't wait to get chatting with the band in just a moment all about the album. But before then, it is the usual reminders from myself. If you would, please do follow Full Pelt on social media. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on X and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. And again, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But right now, it's time to jump into the chat. So let's go. Really excited to welcome Vlad from Slung to the Discover New Music podcast. Absolutely delighted, like I say, to have you on today. A lot for us to talk about, but the first question is really simple. How are you doing today?
Thanks a lot for having me. I'm doing all right. Yeah. Just before you hit record, we were talking about doing pre-orders and monotonously writing the return address for 50, 60 odd times. So yeah, I just feel like every time I blink, I see 27 Castle Street, 27 Castle. Like that's all I can see now. But other than that, doing great. Thank you.
No, amazing. I mean, obviously, it's good that you're getting to do that because it means that people are pre-ordering, and that is so important these days that people pre-order. It helps bands so much. And I will, on these podcasts that I do, like put plugs in constantly. So I will talk a lot about the album, trust me. Before we get into it, though, the Discover New Music podcast I created because I really wanted to put a spotlight on new musicians, new music, and with that, the first question kind of formed itself. And it's always the same question that kicks off this podcast. And I've given it something of a grandiose title, which is the origin story. Sounds a bit superhero-esque, but realistically, just by way of an introduction for those that might be listening to this and not familiar with the band, how did Slung come together? What was the origin story for the band?
Yeah. So Slung started as sort of in my old band in Technicolor, kind of started dying down when the guitar player in that band, when his other band sort of became really, really active, and he ended up touring more than 100 days out of the year. Is his other band is called Delta Sleep. So it's my friend Dave Jackson. So he had a kid. He started touring over 100, 150 days a year. And his partner Ruth told him, pick a band, pick one band. You get to keep one. And I think yeah, it kind of came down to managing time, and I'm super happy that his other band is doing great, and he's a great pal, and he's earning music from money now, money from music now. So which is a wild concept in 2025. But little by little, I just had no outlet for my riffs and for my ideas. So I actually before starting Slung, I started writing tunes with everybody I know in town. So like these, a lot of the songs that are on this record, they started as demos, like wrote with 8 different vocalists, 5 different drummers, and rather than just standing still, I was just like, I'm just gonna write music with everybody. And after a while, I was like, I'd like this to be a band, and so I tried to convince people to play some of those songs with me and then write some more tunes. And little by little, I've convinced 3 people. And we went to the pub and somebody said the word slung. And then we checked Instagram and Spotify. And when nobody else had it, we decided that maybe we could be a band. And when they said maybe we could be a band, I booked 28 shows last year before we ever actually put any music out. So I was like, let's go see if we can do it. And we ended up being quite good at it, and it was fun, and it was all of the other things that it's meant to be. So we made a record, and now this is turning into, yeah, the world's most expensive hobby. Some people have tennis, some people have golf. For some reason, we got this fucking drive to record and release music, which is a very expensive lifestyle. But yeah, somehow, sorry, this is turning into a big rant. But yeah, Slung happened as from the ashes of another band. It happened as individually ideas with other people. And eventually, Katie, Ravi, and Ali got tricked into being full-time members.
Yeah, I mean that is yeah, a really unique origin story. Obviously, we've done 78 of these podcasts now, and hear various different stories, and that one is pretty unique. But I mean, I don't think I've ever found myself saying this before, but I'm so glad that obviously your friend picked the other band, if I'm honest, because if he hadn't, we wouldn't have Slung. And we're going to get into everything that you've been doing under this moniker, Slung, with your new bandmates, and I'm absolutely loving it, absolutely loving it. So I'm so glad that all of these different things have happened to push you towards this, and now, like I say, we've got Slung, and yeah, it is. Um, Not cheap. It's not it's not an easy hobby, but clearly, there's a skill here to crafting bloody good songs because that is what I'm hearing on this album. I've had a sneak peek, a sneak listen to it. I'm writing a review for it at the moment, and again, here come the plugs, listeners. But it's damn good. Yeah, that's all the review needs to be. I will write some more words than that to get my word count up, but it's damn good, listeners. You need to listen to it, and we're going to touch on a few elements of it. And the first element I'm going to jump out at is the track "Laughter."
Mhm.
Because that was the first album track that came out from Slung. So I'm always interested in this, especially with a new band like you say. I mean, booking 28 shows and going and playing 28 shows before putting any music out is absolutely amazing. Getting to road test these, so I don't know whether this will factor in the decision. Because the question is, what about Laughter stood out to you to be that first impression of the album for listeners?
That's a good question. So, like, sorry, just to even before getting around to
Mm.
that, before playing any of the shows, we actually recorded the entire album. So we
Wow.
made this record before we played a single show. Then we've learned how to play shows, and then we're like, maybe it's time to put it out. So yeah, we've done everything backwards in ways, but yeah, when we were recording the album, sort of asked my friend Elliot to come by and shoot a live session. Kind of been in bands for ages and put on shows for ages. So here's, you get a sense for the independent music community across England, Wales, and Scotland. And so I knew I could ask my friends, be like, hey, can you stick me on this support? But even with doing that, we needed something to be out. And so Laughter was a first live video and then became, as you said, the first like sort of album track. And I think it was like, you're trying to capture people's attention. There's so many bands, so much music, so much of everything that we're overloaded with. So we've picked the one that starts with a fast drum fill and a scream. If you don't pay attention after that drum fill or scream, then we didn't do a great job. It felt like the easiest way to kind of grab attention, I guess, and that's why Laughter became first, like the first live video I've put out, and then the first single from our action album campaign. So yeah, it was always about trying to grab people's attention in the myriad of things that are happening all the time around us. Yeah, I think it was that.
Yeah, no, which makes perfect sense. I mean, I've got it's becoming a bit of a catchphrase of mine at this point. I guess I say it so often now, but yeah, I always say at a time when it's never been easier to put music out into the world, it's never been more difficult to actually be heard because there is so much out there. You are competing as much as you don't want to be competing with, your brothers and sisters in these other bands that are all just trying to, get out there. You are competing for that attention. So obviously, that mindset you've put into picking that track sadly has, really strong logic to it.
Yeah, yeah, it is a strange one, but I'm not sure if I fully subscribe to that, like just the word competing, because in a sense, then you're
Mm,
competing with your phone for your attention time,
yeah.
and with everything else, like it is crazy that how much music there is out there, though. You're totally, it is. I think Sarah, our press agent, said that more music was released last Friday than in the entire year of 1978. So in one Friday. Well, it's crazy, and we all know what's happening sort of in music press, how it's shrinking because digital marketing is more profitable. So it's like it feels like there's less magazines and radio stations and continuously more music, and now you kind of just rely mainly, on algorithms to tell you what to get. It's a crazy concept that there's so much good stuff that we're almost not talking about all of it, So people who run podcasts like you, people who still find time to have like, to write words about music. It feels like it's almost like a dying art at a time when there's as much music as possible. It feels really counterintuitive at best.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can fully endorse all of that. I'm really with you. And you've used the words dying art, which perfectly describe what I want to move on to next, actually, and feeds into our sort of conversation here about being able to stand out. And it's music videos. So I love music videos. Grew up watching music videos, Kerrang and Scars and MTV, before school, after school. Really connected with artists through music videos because it's this whole other dynamic that is created there that when you're watching them and obviously when it is so hard to stand out, videos can help you do that. Now, on this podcast in particular, I love to put a spotlight on a video and point listeners to go and watch a video. And I hate when, and it happens occasionally, I'm interviewing a band and I'm looking and I'm like, they haven't released any videos. What am I going to talk about? Now, you are the exact opposite of that. I cannot actually pick a single video to ask you about because you have released a video for each of the tracks that you've released, and each video in its own unique way is fantastic. Yeah, I really love that you can see the passion and the love that you're putting into these projects because they fit with the song, which is obviously a good start. Aesthetically, they're just really, really pleasing. So overall, listeners, there will be a link in the bio. Go and check out all of the videos from Slung. It absolutely has to be done. So the question I'm going to adapt to you, rather than ask about a specific video, to start off with, just how important are music videos to you as a band, you as a person, Vlad? Why have you pleased me so much by putting all this energy into them?
First of all, I think we grew up much around the same time because I think I love music videos in just the same way that you described. It's they were a big part of childhood. I guess now and they were really like back in the day when you used to. Oh wow, I sound old. Brucker Marder.
Yeah, I know.
But when it was much more expensive, before the democratization of tools of production and distribution, when those were, only accessible to a smaller portion, like felt like those music videos were like real art pieces, as opposed to like, vast amount of content rather than art that we're surrounded by now. So I think it's like, how important are music videos in the grand scheme of things? Probably not very important for like, career trajectory or for a band developing or because you're competing with content, and if you're trying to make art and it's hard to get visibility to it, I'm not sure if it's really super important, but to us it was because I think we all grew up watching exciting music videos and like waiting for them to come on, and yeah, so like within the our means and our abilities, like and our friends that we can rope into acting or filming or I think it was always just the idea of creating a little world and like building a set and then going filming for a day or two with your friends and trying to do a really good job. It's just fun. It's just a lot of fun. And we're really lucky to be surrounded by good musicians and good videographers. So like, the attempts they're fun to do. And when you look back at them, you're like, oh shit, this is actually a music video. It's like, the silly idea from sitting at a pub garden, and just chain smoking rollies and just writing down notes to kind of seeing it materialize. There's a huge satisfaction in actually creating something. So I think in that sense, they're important. And we've had loads of fun making them. Whether they're going to make any, a huge tangible difference, no, but maybe, some music fans will get stuck in a YouTube rabbit hole of some sort and then just consume all of them in one evening and become a fan, So maybe, I don't know, time will tell where it lands, but so far it's been nothing but fun.
Yeah, I mean, I know that rabbit hole very well. I've been down it with many a band, but in particular with your videos over the last day or two. So, again, I encourage listeners to dive into that rabbit hole. And I'm glad you've used the word fun a few times there, because that's actually the word I've got jotted down here as a follow on. And I might be asking you here to pick, which of your children is your favorite, which is always a harsh question to ask. But given I haven't picked one of the videos to spotlight, which was the most fun video to make?
Um, I think the last single, Class A Cherry, because it's so ambitious. Like, and there's so many things, like trying to set up an imaginary scene where everything is a pink draping and people are wearing robes, and then finding out on the day that we need a bottle of Prosecco so we can pop it and try to get that, so there's so many things from planning it to shooting it on the days off. It was really ambitious. And I think that there is something fun in like lighting that fire underneath your own bum and being like, no, we can do this, you know? And no, no, it is gonna look like $1 million. What's our budget? I don't want to talk about it, but it's gonna look like $1 million, you know, it's gotta. So it was really fun to try and to not kind of lean into the lo-fi aesthetic and actually try to do something that looks like it's a real thing. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, and you can see again like that what you've tried to achieve there, and you've pulled off really, really well. It does work so well because you've got different types of music videos, and I say that generically, but you, as in Slung, have got different types of music videos. The performance ones, the more basic ones, and obviously bands, that have got different budgets will have to tackle things differently. But you've shown even on the grander scale of what you've done with Class A Cherry that whatever the budget, you can make something that looks pretty spectacular. So
I mean, it's also a lot of it is saving up favors with friends
yeah,
and then just like, hey, do you remember all the help I've done over the last 10 years? Can I please have a day of your time? So it's a lot of that and it's a lot of yeah, and then luckily like just surrounded by loads of creatives who have over the last 5, 10 years have gotten so good at what they do that when you tell them an idea, be like, hey, can you make this video for Collider look super psychedelic? And can we stand behind the screen? They're like, yeah, no problem. You're like, oh, really? We can do that. And yeah, so it's also a testament that you should surround yourself with people who are better artists than you are because they'll forever push you to be better yourself. So I think there's a little bit of that involved in the whole situation as well.
no, that's a fantastic piece of life advice, I would say. Absolutely. Yeah, and all of this is culminating, as we say. We touched on it at the start. You've been packing them up, ready to send out in waves. In ways, is your debut album. It's out on May the 2nd. We're talking now on Easter Monday. So we are about two weeks today, isn't it? That it's coming out. So I mean, obviously, given the story we've talked about, that origin story and everything you've done before, obviously, Slung, how excited are you now, sitting here 2 weeks away from the release day? Are you excited? Are you nervous? How are you feeling?
To be honest, I'm excited. I'm excited now, but the first 3 months of this year, I had ankle surgery, and I actually wasn't able to walk for a lot of it. So this year, I haven't seen my bandmates until Sunday, until yesterday when we had a practice. So we had a first practice in 3.5 months. I've been kind of tucked away, and all of it, it this has been quite laborious, and it felt like homework. It's just been going online and posting and doing little bits and advancing. I feel like I've been such a good boy, and I feel like it's now I'm starting to get excited that all the good stuff is the album's actually going to come out. The shows are going to start, so I'm excited now. But to be honest, those 3 months, it's hard work, man. It's really hard work for somebody who just wants to play, riffs and drop C, and riffs that are simple enough to be played after 3 pints. So it's been hard work, but it's getting to the good bits now, finally.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And in just a moment, I'm going to ask you about the real good bits, which is the live side of things. But just to close out our sort of run through of In Ways, you touched on within your origin story there about the unique process for creating this album, and I always just try and touch on that sort of side of things when we're talking about the different records with the artists. And I say yours has been pretty different, really. How has that sort of impacted on this process for you? Has it been something that you found particularly special, because you've done it not the usual way in inverted commas, brackets there. What has this process meant to you by doing it the way you have?
Um, I mean, I'm not sure if it had like a big meaning or intention. I just really after the pandemic, especially, when the world was opening up, I kind of was so excited to get back into the normal life and normal swing of things. That I spent about 2 years just wanting to play music with everybody. And I knew that those people were busy with other projects, but just to steal them for long enough to work on a song together. It was just I didn't really, I didn't think it would end up being a band. I thought it would just be songs that are written with other people. So it didn't, I wasn't really pursuing a band for a lot of it, and it just felt like good old fun, and it felt like, something that kind of had this bottled up need to do, just to make loads of music with all of these talented people that I'm surrounded by. Just yeah, and it it was really, half of those songs then didn't make it on the album, so we've written half new tunes together with the new Slung, with actual Slung. So I don't know. I think it's just, I wish I was this passionate about real estate, or banking, but I'm not. I just really like writing music with people, and yeah, recording it, releasing it. It's just a really fun thing to do. So yeah, I just think I did it for the love of it. Because sure as hell there's no financial incentive. So yeah, you just really have to enjoy it, or you just don't get through it otherwise.
Yeah, and you must feel some pride and sort of purpose and happiness and all these different words I can check out as well. That all of these talented people that you've worked with, the current slug and obviously the people that have contributed along the way, the fact that they've been willing to give up, part of their time, part of their creativity to come and work with you, you must feel.
Well, I did bribe them. Most of the time, it was a takeaway pizza and a six pack. So I did bribe them with a few slices of pepperoni. But yeah, no, it's been great. Like nobody, surprisingly, nobody really turned around and said no, which is great. And it was just a lot of those songs, with vocalists were written, in a day. There's were some songs like I sort of had ideas of, then I went for jams with drummers. Then I kind of layered a few extra bits, and then it's amazing to see what can happen in 5, 6 hours if you kind of like. Creativity is amazing if you put boundaries on it, and I think yeah, just writing music with people like Lucy Sheehan from a band called Projector, Annie from Clidrip, or Michael from Sigjoy. Just getting 5, 6 hours with them is like when we leave, this is going to be a song, or even like, Willie G from old Black Peaks and Now Every Hell. Like he is such a creative, So like to pin him down is like we actually have to finish it in these 5 hours. It's amazing to see how people react, and it's like, when you're running out of time and you just kind of go with the instinct. Oh, the first thing was the best thing. Let's just go back to it, and that, I don't know, there's a lot of joy in that, and I'd recommend it to everybody, even if they are in that financial sector of real estate. Maybe they should give it up and come join the dark side of making tunes.
Yeah, no, I think they absolutely should. And yeah, no, pizza and beer. It's amazing what you can achieve with pizza and beer, getting stuff done.
It's the staple of the indie economy, I reckon.
Absolutely, absolutely. But as is live music, and that's where we're headed now. So obviously on the 2nd of May, the album comes out, and that's when you commence your headline tour as well. And you're going to get to go out and you're going to get to play these songs live to an audience with current now slung with you, doing that. How excited are you for that next phase?
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, yeah, that's the best bit of it, isn't it? It is the best bit. So, um, yeah, it's just literally cannot wait. I don't have a great answer, to be honest. I know we're in a podcast. I should probably have something more elaborate, but the honest truth is just I just can't wait. It's Yeah, other than the hometown show, which is always nerve-wracking, I think it's just really exciting to go into different towns and to see that people have listened to the record and they enjoyed it, and just yeah, it's just very rewarding, and can't wait.
Yeah, I mean that does say it all. Like you say, that is the side. That's what everyone wants to be doing. They want to be getting out on stage and playing songs, especially when you've created a baby like this and you're putting it out to the world and you want to see these songs live and breathe out on stage. Fantastic opportunity. And listeners, here comes another plug from me. There will be a link in the bio of the podcast. Go through and find a tour date if you can, because independent bands need the support, independent venues need the support. So hopping down the road seeing a show, and you're going to get catch a fantastic band with Slung. It is well worth your time. And I always give out the social handles if that helps as well, listeners. They'll pop up in the corner. And it's Slung Band on Facebook and TikTok. And it's slung with full stops in between the letters. So it will pop up on the screen on Instagram. So when you did your search that you talked about during your origin story to see if there was another slung, I'm guessing someone has obviously nicked the Instagram, or you've maybe locked yourself out because I
Absolutely.
know
Yeah.
people have done that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it wasn't available. We try to standardize everything, but mind you, this was like after the third pint, after one of the first practices. I think we were just excited with the fact that we came up with a name that worked. But yeah, yeah. I think if you can make it out to a show, you should, because Netflix is going to be there tomorrow as well, and nothing else is going to change in the world. But yeah, a live show, just from somebody who hasn't been to a gig in about 4 months. I went to my first gig this year on last Tuesday, and oh my God, they're the best thing in the world. Gigs,
Yeah.
pints at a venue, uh, knowing that you should put earplugs in, but you don't anyways because it sounds so good. All of the things that make a gig wonderful, you should just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just embrace it. Yeah, you'll never. Yeah, I'd say literally never regret going to a gig because even if it turns out that you're going to watch a band you don't know who they are and they turn out to be bad, at least you've got a positive, a story you can tell and laugh about afterwards, and you've had a few drinks with your mates or whatever it is. Like, there's not a bad reason. Just get to a gig, and if you can come to one of these slung dates, listeners, absolutely do. And just to whet your appetite for the live shows, we have the final section of the podcast, and it's called Setlist Science. I've already said I'm a bit of a music video geek. I love paying a bit of attention towards set lists. What a band's playing, what order are they playing it in, how are they playing it this time round. So it's a very simple starter question, really, for the set list science piece, and that is simply how important uh, are the structure of set lists to you, and how much importance do you place in them, and do you follow any rules?
Yeah, yeah. I think set lists are huge. You kind of it's same way like with an album itself, but obviously, a live show is a shared experience, but you are in control of the energy of the room. So you have to be really mindful and maybe not burn people out or start too slow or how all is well that ends well is the famous saying. It's
Mhm.
ending a set in the correct way is really important. It's writing the right set list is a huge thing. Putting in a little bit of maybe walk on music, maybe the right moment for an interlude. Mark down where your guitarist is going to tune, and it turns out he's out of tune the entire set, anyways. It's all the classic adventures. But yeah, it's we've been negotiating in the band in the rehearsal room about the next set list. And our first 28 gigs, we've always opened with the same song, and we're not going to do that anymore. So that was a big first part of the negotiation, and then the rest of it followed. That's all I can say for now.
Oh no, well, that definitely whets the appetite, and listeners have definitely got to pop along to these shows and see, what this set list is going to look like. And you may or may not have included this within the discussions, but it's the second part of the question. So either for yourself or when, like you say, when you go into a gig and they are the best thing in the world and you stood there. The second part we added in a year or so back when it became a bit of an internet meme is just simply around encores. And I keep it really simple. Encores, yes or no?
Uh, I mean, I don't think it's a yes or no question. I mean, if you're Bruce Springsteen, like, yeah, people came to watch you play for 3 hours, and your encore is probably longer than, the opener set. But I think there's like with most things, there's a time and a place for it. I think there's something a little bit stinky when bands do it in a really contrived way and they kind of just shimmy off stage and you can still see their butt, poking onto the stage. You're like, I know you're waiting. What are you waiting for? Just play the. So I think, there's loads of things that can feel natural and different for different people in different contexts. So yeah, as long as it's not forced, nobody, you can always tell when it's forced. And I think just avoiding that is the key.
You know what? I've been asking this question for quite a while now, and someone that pays attention to set lists so much, I have flip-flopped because there's a romance to a set list. Like you talk about Springsteen, I saw him last summer, and yeah, you want that extra. You know it's cutting. You want it, and it's like even though that is formulated, you like no, I need this. Like I need you to walk off, and I need to cheer you back on. But like you say, there's also the come on. I know you're coming back. I can see you, and there was a band that I love that I've told the story a few times as well, and this might be a lesson for again bands that are listening to this. A band that I really loved in a smaller venue, and I knew they had an encore. I pay attention to set lists, and I'd seen the set list they were playing. I knew they had their two sort of bigger hits or bigger tracks to finish with as an encore, and they walked off. And the sound guy just turned the lights on, turned the music on, and the audience started walking out. And I'm stood there like, man, they've still got the two best songs to go. And you could see the band peering around the corner going, well, bugger, what are we doing? What are we doing? And they never come back on and never play because obviously, and it's just like, yeah, there's a lesson there. Like, if you're gonna make it formulated, if you're gonna make it part of like the routine, tell everyone that needs to know that it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, that is tragic. That is absolutely tragic. Yeah, I mean, when when we started Slung shows, we didn't like our first gigs. We just barely had enough to play, play a full set. And when people started asking for more, we ended up occasionally doing a Limp Bizkit song as the encore, just for us, just for a laugh, you know. And then it kind of bloomed into us doing a Limp Bizkit set
Well,
last Halloween. And yeah, I think that more people came to that show than to any of our originals. So I think we're kind of discussing Slung Biscuit as an option, as a career path, becoming a tribute band potentially when nobody buys our original music and we accept that we need to be a covers band. But yeah, no, I think the value of encore is like there's definitely a way to do it tastefully, but man, you gotta do it right if you're gonna do it.
absolutely, absolutely. No, so I love the answers to those questions, and yeah, really, again, listeners need to pop along to these shows, And I mean, Slung Biscuit, as much as I am really intrigued by that, I would love to see that. I would, yeah, absolutely not want you to give up on this. Like I say, I've been listening to the album, I've been reviewing it. Listeners, really do need to, if you can, pre-order it. I know, times are tough. And obviously, if you're already paying for Spotify, then yeah, when it comes out on your streaming platforms, that just make sure you're listening to it is my tip. But if you can pre-order it, and get Vlad having to seal up some more and post him off and put him to work, then absolutely we need to do that. So that is my final message for the listeners today. But always love to give the final message to the guests. So Vlad, what would be your final message today?
Um, I'm still stuck on the Slung Biscuit thing. Actually, if you're around for Burn It Down Festival, I may be saying too much, but we may or may not be closing the festival after party with a Slung Biscuit set. So if you're around for that, thank you to Karam and Matthew for entertaining us playing two sets. But no, yeah, just what you said. If you can, make it out to a show, that would be amazing. Don't worry about buying a vinyl. Just buy us a beer, come to a show. Let us convince you in person that you should buy it. So don't, but yeah, I think it's important to take punts on bands every now and again. You might not know us, but if you like a song or two, just go to a gig of a band that you don't know. When was the last time you've done that? Uh, and yeah, I think that's all I got.
No, and that is the best message of 2025. Just take a punt on a band.
Mm.
Absolutely go and do it because you're not going to regret it, hopefully. So yeah, no, thank you so much, Vlad, for giving me part of obviously your Easter Monday and coming doing this
Oh,
podcast.
thank you. Hopefully you can make it down to a show. Let's have a beer together next month.
Well, I really hope you enjoyed that chat there with Slung. Remember that In Ways, their debut album, is out on May the 2nd. You really need to check it out and obviously head along to a headline show if you can. So you should follow the band across social media. And while you're there, you might as well follow Full Pelt. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on X and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. Now, finally from me, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because we'll be back very soon with another episode of the Discover New Music podcast.